Welcome to Cardano over coffee. It's Friday, so we proudly present a bowl of mac with Kyle from EpochSec.
Now, as we move into our last segment, is generally banter, but Friday is very, very special because we have our friend Holy Macaroni to serve up a fresh bowl of mac. My friend Holy Macaroni, happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you as well, and thank you for having me up.
Excited, man. This is our weekly segment dedicated to cybersecurity in the EpochSec project. My friend, take it away.
Well, thank you very much, Newts. So I am Kyle, or EpochSec, or Holy Macaroni, whatever you prefer. I talk about a lot of different security topics here on this space every Friday. Today's a little bit different. I understand that we're all in the crypto space and we need to be smart and secure and safe, but what comes along with that is being smart and secure and safe in every aspect of our lives. So today I'll be doing, like I said, a little bit different. I'll be talking about travel safety and traveling smart, being safe and secure when you're traveling, whether it's locally, in town or around the States or internationally or whatever it is. I've spent a lot of time over the last 22 years traveling all over the world in the military and in cybersecurity, et cetera. So here are about 7 different tips to help you all out. So the first one is the one I talk about all of the time, being aware of scams. But these are being aware of scams in person, right? So when you're traveling wherever it is, you really shouldn't be telling anybody why you're on that trip, whether it's personal or business or whatever the reason is. You shouldn't be sharing any information about yourself, where you're staying, what you're doing, nothing like that, right? Any type of information like that can be used against you if some bad actor or somebody malicious has that information. So also be alert of the social engineering tactics as well. So a lot of times when I'm in different foreign countries, people will recognize possibly that I'm a foreigner or I'm a traveler and I'm not native to that area. So they might try different techniques. A lot of times people will try to charge you more for an item in a store than what it's really worth because you're not really aware of how to interpret that. Or they might try to invite you to an event, trying to get the idea that they want to introduce you to the town and stuff like that. I've seen people also try to use their children. So children will come up to you and try to offer you things and use their adolescence, a seemingly safe kind of persona to get you to do something. RFID scams too, right? So when you're traveling in airports or hotels or wherever, I like to tell everybody to go to Amazon and get a little RFID kit, if you will, that you can put your cards or passport in, things like that. Also, I always try to tell people to go to different official websites. So in the US, there's a lot of US government websites that you can go to look up scams and crime and activity wherever you're going, so you can be more acutely aware of what's going on over there. So the next thing is public Wi-Fi. So what I generally recommend to people is to try to always use your own hotspot, whether it's using the hotspot on your mobile device to connect your laptop or something like that. Maybe you have an individual hotspot that you have from your service provider. Now, if you do have to use public Wi-Fi, I recommend using a reputable VPN, and also do not conduct any sensitive actions. I wouldn't make any transactions with your crypto wallet or with your banking, or I wouldn't have any sensitive conversations about your destinations or what you're trying to do or anything like that. Keep in mind, a lot of times bad actors will try man in the middle attacks on public Wi-Fi to intercept and capture your traffic to see what you're doing. Also, disable all of your unused connections. A lot of times we might use Apple Pay or Samsung Pay or Google Pay. That requires NFC, but you can actually disable that. So keep things like that disabled when you're not using it. Also Bluetooth. I say a lot that I have a headset that I connect via Bluetooth for my mobile device. Now, if I'm not using that headset or whatever other thing to connect my phone, I keep Bluetooth disabled. Also AirDrop and nearby sharing so AirDrop on iOS and nearby sharing on Android. So the next thing is physical security. I recommend having secure locks and baggage for your laptops, locks for your bags as well. There's certain bags out there. I think one is PackSafe. Now, these are more secure bags. They have tougher material. They have different ways of locking them up. Obviously, bad actors, if they are persistent enough and intelligent enough, they can get into that bag. But what you're really trying to do is deter that bad actor and make it a little bit more difficult on them so that they may avoid you and go to somebody else that is easier to compromise. Not that we want anybody compromised. So also never leave any of your sensitive items alone. Even in your hotel room, don't think that your hotel room is safe, or don't leave your sensitive items with strangers or anything else, right? Keep them locked up, maybe in the safe in the hotel room if you have to, but keep very sensitive things very close to you at all times. I always recommend to people to also use official taxi services as well. I've seen situations before where the taxi driver, if you get out of the taxi first, decide to drive off with your baggages in the trunk. So let the taxi driver get out first. I like to always also take a picture of the taxi number and license plate, so that kind of deters them from wanting to do something bad to me. Also, always use your own charging cables and plugs, right? For two things. You want to carry a surge protector. You don't want your stuff to get destroyed, but you also don't want to be susceptible to juice jacking. So basically, if you plug your USB device into a public USB connection, if a malicious actor has compromised that port, then you could potentially have your information compromised. Continuing on, physical security, privacy screens on your laptops, keep emergency funds hidden somewhere safe, maybe in a hidden pocket or a hidden location, but also only carry limited cash, cards, crypto, only what is absolutely required for that trip. Data encryption. So if you're carrying a laptop, mobile device, USB device, whatever it is, encrypt your laptops with BitLocker if you're using Windows, Lux if you're using Linux. There's a lot of encryption methods out there, but those are really just the two easiest to mention. Also, your external drives and USB drives. If you go to Amazon and look up encrypted USB, you'll find Kingston and you'll find a lot of other brands out there that have built-in encryption methods. Using a password manager. You don't want to carry a notebook written down with all your passwords while you're traveling. Keep your stuff backed up as well, at home and with you. Because if you're on travel, if you're in another country, 10, 20, 30 hours away from home, and you only have one copy of something and you lose that, you might get in trouble, right? So keep a backup of digital items, but also your passport, right? I like to have a photocopy of my passport. Most of the time, you're required to have your actual real passport for official activity, but if you do happen to lose that, at least you have a backup copy to prove that you indeed do have a passport. I've seen situations like that with people I was traveling with in the military before, where that does become an issue. Also, be acutely aware of local laws and protections. So earlier I mentioned being aware of scams and crime activity and looking up countries before you go to them. You should do that when it applies to local laws, protection mechanisms out there for you as well. So I always like to tell people to have the numbers, location, address, etc. of your local embassy. So if you're in the US, right, there's US embassies in virtually every country. So be aware of those folks. Always be aware of your surroundings as well. Attempt to not draw any attention. You're probably going to look like a traveler or a tourist, but try to avoid doing that as much as possible. Also, like I was saying, know your local laws. Know your local laws for your mobile devices and how you're using those and what can and can't be done. Also, know what law enforcement officials can do to you as well. I think that pretty much sums it up. Well, there's one more thing. Also, just wrapping up this, I always tell people to try to really maintain a security mindset. This might sound very cumbersome and frustrating and thinking the world is very insecure. Well, it really is, right? But everything that I do, I always think about the potential security risk in it. Now, I don't sit there all day long and think about it, but I try to really pick out key things to consider all of the time in any kind of interaction that I have. No one thing that I mentioned will be 100% secure. So try to use a collective of these things. Keep in mind your goal is to be deliberately thinking about security, and always use a combination of these different tips I've talked about. So that does sum it up, and I am done. Thank you for your time.
Thanks for listening to Cardano Over Coffee's Bowl of Mac. Please remember to join us live Monday through Friday on Twitter Spaces, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 1:30 p.m. UTC. We hope to see you at Rare Evo in Denver, Colorado, August 24th through the 26th. Get your tickets on sale now at rareevo.io. Use coupon code COC10 for 10% off.